Oh, yeah. We will start this evening gathering, making sure our intention being here and physically, verbally, and mentally to participate meditation, some recitation, listening to the talk, contemplation, and at the end, reading a short prayer. So all these activities that we are going to participate with our body, speech, and mind to be useful, helpful, more productive to ourselves and to the wider community and larger number of living beings, as from our own experience that we know that is heavily dependent on our mental states. In this case, our intention being here and to join. So therefore, set a positive, a constructive intention. That can be a simple, straightforward, common sense, positive mind, or that can be spiritually, religiously motivated, positive intention, and that is up to the individuals. Basically, as I repeat this all the time, basically, we all have the abilities, potentials to experience many layers of positive minds. There's no doubt with that. I strongly believe that we all have that kind of capability or the abilities. So use our strength of the mind to have a positive intention. Then of course people who are here because your spiritual journey, you have chosen, selected the teachings of the Buddha as your spiritual path, then it will be quite good to hold the mind taking refuge in Buddha as one's own teacher, his teachings, Dharma, as a means, methods to be applied, to be experienced, to be actualized within ourselves, such as concentration, ethics, and wisdoms. And his Sangha, not necessarily ordained monks and nuns, but his Sanghas as one's own spiritual friends. Holding that mind will be extremely helpful. People who have taken the teachings of the Buddha as your spiritual journey. Then, of course, within that, some of you may follow the Bodhisattva and the teachings, Mahayana teachings. If that is the case, on top of the mind taking refuge, the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, that mind very genuinely, sincerely, from the heart, thinking about, concerned about, feeling about well-beings of all living creatures, regardless of the different connections that we have at the present, but being able to think, the all well-beings of all living creatures, not just able to think, but also try to work, with that mind, try to work well-beings of all living beings, and that is very, roughly what is called mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta in Sanskrit. And that will be very, very helpful. People who are following the Bodhisattva teachings as your intention being here. So try all our best to have a positive, a constructive mind to start the class. On the page, prayer book, page 27, refuge and bodhicitta lines. Sanje chöda tsoje chonam la chanju pado dane jaso che dage chöje jibe tsonamanje dola penje sanje doba sho sanje chöda tsoje chonam chanjo pado dane jaso che dage chöje jibe tsonamanje dola penje sanje dopa jo sanje chöda tsoje chonam chanjo pado dane jaso che dage jenso jibe tsonamanje dola penje sanje doba sho. Oh yeah. So with this positive and constructive intention to join the class, now we'll do a brief silent meditation. Meditation that helps to nurture, to enhance a calm, clear, and focused mind. Mind which has qualities of stillness, stability, that is, our minds have the ability to stay with one given meditation object or to the present, right here and now, and also to nurture, to enhance the mental quality of clarity, that is, the full attention is present right here and now while our mind is focused on the object of the meditation. So for that purpose, we do this short, silent meditation. Oh, yeah. So then the part of the reading this text, middling Lam-Rim, as a oral transmission, we read this lineage prayers, which is in this single page photocopy. So there you will see the lineage prayer. And while we are reading these verses, strongly imagine the historical Buddha. Gautama is present in front of us, where the Buddha statue is, not in a form of statue, but as a real person, with his all the great qualities, and in particularly his fully cultivated great compassion, loving kindness towards all living creatures, and that includes us, and also his fully cultivated great wisdoms. Also, if you can, imagine all those past and the present great Indian masters and some present Tibetan, past and present Tibetan great teachers, like from India, Nagarjuna, Asanga, and this great Indian master Atisha, who came to Tibet around 11th century, and which the text that we are reading is has direct connection with one of his texts, and also some of those great Tibetan teachers, including Jesongkhapa, the text that who wrote the text that we are reading, and some of those present great teachers like His Holiness the Dalai Lama and other masters whom that we have received teachings like the Lam-Rims. So create an atmosphere, create an environment that our activities are taking place at the presence of all those great past and present, those great teachers, the teachers. With that kind of atmosphere, now we'll read the lineage prayers. Benzo gele chewe tube ko taye dove rewa ko we son ma lu she cha che she se be to sha ge zo de la que cha dai me de ba te ye se je cho jai ve ze ba gun ye ko namane trai me shen do de be nam re ba me bama jambe ya la cha ce lo shen do pa pa kai wa ja ve yo mo che shen ko ba de ze zam le je lo do to me che ne sa so mo na yo so tai be sha la tai cha ce shen da che bo ne le ge pe sa mo tai wa ja je che pe la ma ma no yo so zo be ne de be dai be ze ze marai me ze la de me ze we te je re se te me ke be wan bo chan be ya kai je ke be zoi je zon kai ba lo sa tai be sha la so wa de ngai wa lo sa je de ni bo so zeng ge jai chen ra de cho we so se so wa juro so ba me be de na ba ja we de la so wa de ra jamai so ra ke la ta we me ke sa ta ba de be jo ngoi cho ze we je be ta ke ze ba ye sen ze she nye nam la ke chan ze. Oh yeah, thank you. So as you know, we are last part of the, the reading this amazing text, as I mentioned, written by this great 14th century Tibetan teacher, Geshe Tashi. And among his 18 volumes of writing, and this is one of the most, important, although all are very, very amazing texts. Again, the group of texts that he wrote, called Lam-Rim, the stages of the path to enlightenment, and this is one of them. It is labeled middling, the length, gradual path, stages of the gradual path to enlightenment. So the section that we are reading, I will not repeat from the beginning. The section that we are reading is first, the reading. I'll say that the section that we are reading is, the section where Geshe Tashi explains how to cultivate, how to develop, the wisdom realizing emptiness, wisdom realizing ultimate nature of the things and events. Sometimes it's called ultimate truth or emptiness. And that is the the section that we are reading, and that's quite a big section. As it's the section itself. Within that, we are reading specifically we are reading the section where Geshe Tashi explains the technically called two truths, conventional truth and ultimate truth. And as I mentioned, the last Wednesday evening, although technically it sounds very dry and very what's called abstract, the philosophical sort of views, but if we look at more in depth and unpacked, then these are not just the dry philosophical what's called the concepts. These are directly related, these two topics, two truths, conventional truth and ultimate truth. These two topics are directly related to how we see, how we interpret, how we believe the worlds that we live. External world, the universe, all the building blocks of the universe, our internal world, that our thoughts, emotions, the wishes, experience, our internal world, we all have, we all have our beliefs, our views, our what you call the concepts, and built through the social culture, the philosophical, religious. That through that we have particular worldview. We perceive things and events in a particular way. We believe them in a particular manner, but also, not necessarily by the culture, by the social, by the philosophy, by the religion, not necessarily influenced by that, as we are equipped with this, so-called minds, so-called, the mental states. Some are very, we call in the Buddhist sense, 5 sense consciousnesses, interact with the external worlds, shapes, colors, smell, taste, tactile, and also mental consciousness, also interact with the outside world as well as inside world. We are not a passive, the sort of just intake. We also interpret our worlds, the things and events. And this topic is from the Buddhist point of view. From the Buddhist point of view, how the external world and the internal our world, the manner of how they exist, how they, how they exist, their manner of existence, the mode of existence. That is what, from the Buddhist point of view, saying whether we, have very accurately able to interpret, accurately able to believe, accurately able to perceive them, accurately able to interpret them or not, from the Buddhist point of view, saying, all things and events have these two layers or two phases of reality, called the conventional truth, conventional reality, and ultimate truth, ultimate reality. And then it is up to us, how much we are able to, able to correspond or able to get close to these Buddhist teachers have said, how things and events are, or, then it is up to us. It is not really saying we should believe at this passion, as these Buddhist teachers have, explained, including Buddha himself, and that is really important one. Another important one here is, why it is so important for the Buddhist teachers, like Buddha himself, to explain for us, how things and events are, because for them the main concern is if our belief, our interpretation, our the grasping, our the perception are unable to match how things and events are. That unable to match cause problems, and that in the Buddhist term is called ignorance. It sounds very dramatic, but that is how it is. The ignorance. And as I mentioned the other day, Buddha and subsequently Buddhist teachers have constantly said the root of our difficulties, root of our challenges, the shortcomings, externally, internally, they have traced back to that called ignorance. When they look at explain us in this 12, the factors or 12 links of dependent origination. The first they have identified, the root is ignorance. So that is really why this topic is, as I said, it is not just dry philosophical concept, and particularly from the Buddhist point of view, it has direct connection to how can we sort of examine, how can we should contemplate, how should we observe, how we interpret our world, individually and collectively. Out of the interpretation, what things are happening? Joy, happiness, fulfillment, sad, difficulties, sufferings. That is how it works. Our joy, happiness, the sad, difficulty, they are coming to being. They are happening because they are causes, not accidentally. Not without causes, or causes doesn't match with the results. They have always this, causal chain of, causes and effects, and that we all know. And here, that is what this explanation is considered as very, very important. As I mentioned the other day, His Holiness Dalai Lama, strongly suggests, saying, if you want to be if you, just recently he said to the group of Tibetan teachers, if you really want to want that the Buddha's teachings to remain in this world next few hundred years, you should teach the Buddha's teachings, what's called starting from the two truths, then move on to teach Four Noble Truths. Really to explain these things. If you do that, I'm sure Buddha's teaching will remain on this planet a couple of hundred years. If you teach Buddha's teaching just prayer, just recitation, just rituals, I have no guarantee it will last longer than 30, 40, 50 years. That's what he said just recently. Okay? So that is really, I thought it's important for us to of course, it is very nice to have a prayer, to have all those things, but it is also not just one's own nice feeling, one's own comfort. It is we need to think about for the next generation after, to have these things when they read. It's not in a dead concept. There's a concept, there's a theory which has a practical implication, and this is, I think, so quite useful, and to bear in our mind. Okay, so now, as you know, this is my just general, which I think this might be more important than when I start to read specific lines. Then it gone into very deep in samsara. Okay, now what I'm going to start, because last Wednesday evening, out of the two truths, we spent more reading in the first truth, that is conventional truth. Conventional truth. Within the Buddhist teachers, within the Buddhist philosophical schools, when they start to explain what is conventional truth, then of course there are different views, there are different interpretations. What is the conventional truth of this table? What is the conventional truth of my experience, my feelings, feeling of joy, feeling of sadness? What is the conventional nature of that, my feeling, my experience? What is the conventional nature of this watch? When they start to explain, they have different interpretations. But all those different interpretations are, again, different Buddhist schools, different Buddhist teachers will trace back to, as I pointed out, how accurate that we are able to understand the conventional nature of the things and events. Yeah, so that just give you the, and it is according to this teacher, Tsongkhapa, and some of great Indian masters like Chandakirti. Those great teachers, they say, they understand, the people who are able to understand in a more detail and in more depth of distorted element of our mental states, distorted element of our mentals, more in the depth, more in the detail, or in the full sort of what you call the full scale of the distortion that is within our mental state when we interact with the things and events. These teachers will say their interpretation of conventional truth is very different from people who are unable to understand the full package, the whole scale of distortion, element of distortion in our mental state when we interact with the worlds. So the explanation of conventional nature of the things and events within the Buddhist philosophical school, masters, have different interpretation. It depends on how they interpret that ignorance, that first link, what kind of distortion they are able to explain. So that is just, I want to conclude that. I will not go into detail. So now today's our reading. I'm going to do very brief reading today in the second truth, that is ultimate truth, and it is on page 173, ultimate truth. And not reading any detail in this section. Ultimate truth, is commonly the term that we use, emptiness. The emptiness of this table, the emptiness of this watch, emptiness of my identity. That is the ultimate truth of my identity, ultimate truth of this watch, ultimate truth of this table. So then, what is it, that ultimate truth, that of this table, or emptiness of this table, or the ultimate truth of my identity? As I mentioned the last Wednesday evening, all things and events have these two aspects: conventional truth, aspect of conventional truth, and aspect of ultimate truth. So now this evening, we are looking at aspect of the ultimate truth. What is it? That aspect of ultimate truth, of this table, of this watch, of this, my identity, my feelings, and all things and events. Now the ultimate truth of this, the aspect of this table is the table. The table, does not have any kind of essence, any kind of core nature, entity as a table without depending on all the building blocks of the table, including our language, our concept, social agreement as a table. Without all those factors, this one as a table, nothing to be found. If we analyze, if we examine, on this object, what is there as a table? Apart from all those building blocks of this thing as a table including the concept, language, the social agreement, all those things, there's nothing to be found as a table. And that is what normally term is used, emptiness, at the ultimate aspect of this table. In other words, there isn't any intrinsicness as a table. There isn't any inherent as a table. And that absence of intrinsic, absence of inherent, or empty of intrinsic, empty of inherent as a table, on this is the ultimate nature of the, ultimate aspect of the truth, this table. So why it is so important? Why it's so important here? Why I haven't, do I have a, the sort of belief? Do I have a concept? Believing, perceiving. There's some sort of on this object. There's some kind of essence or core nature, core entity as a table. I don't talk those language. I don't share these things to the others. How can I know I have that kind of belief? How can I know I have that kind of concept? That is the thing. Buddhist teachers have said we have. Like Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, they have said from their own observation, long-term, months, years, decades, observing their mental states, how when they interact with the things and events, observing their mental state. And not just observing their mental state, through observing their mental states, sometimes they have an emotion of grasping. Sometimes they have an emotion of rejection. And with the grasping follows craving. With the rejections follows what's called hatred. When they look at it, we have hatred to certain things. We have grasping, attachments. If they trace back where these emotions are coming from, and they found we have this perception, we have this belief, there's something here as a core, as an essence, as a table. That applies to our identity too. That applies to our experience too. Experience of joy, experience of sadness. Not just that experience itself, but within that experience of joy, within that experience of the sadness, there's something to be point the finger very directly, saying this is the sadness, this is the joy. And that is the wrong, distorted belief. So now, that explaining, saying, for them, there isn't anything as an intrinsic, inherent, ultimate in here as a table. That understanding for them, that what's called that mode of that kind of existence, manner of that kind of existence of table, for them it says the ultimate truth. Conventionally, the table has shapes, colors, functions. We can touch, we can interpret, we can use, all those things. They are not denying table has all those things. They say that is the conventional nature, conventional truth of the table. Beyond all these varieties, all those things, if we search what is there as a table, very, very difficult to point the finger. And what they said, that is the indication, the table does not exist intrinsically, inherently. If table existed intrinsically, inherently, or if there's some kind of core essence or core nature as a table beyond all those building blocks, when we analyze, we should have found something. But that is not the case. And that is their conclusion. That's it. They said that's the ultimate nature of the table, and that understanding should apply to all things and events. And that is here, this section, ultimate reality, the meaning of ultimate and reality. So I will not read this. This section is quite big because there is a page 178. There's also Tsongkhapa gone quite detailed so debate on some of the debates are the discussions are very much contemporary at his time, the Tsongkhapa's time, how Tibetan the masters were interpreting, explaining what is ultimate truth, and some are ongoing before this teaching came to Tibet, already exist in India. Among the Indian masters have different views, so I will not read all those things. If you look at it, is a little bit difficult, the language, but if you put effort, you will understand. So now I'm going to move our reading to page 188. Page 188. Now from here we are changing our subject and the topic a little bit. Up to here, if you remember, maybe last year or even year before, I can't remember when we started this. This section, this particular section, the emptiness section. The first. I'm sure people who don't have the text, people who have got the text, it is in the page 130, maybe 29, right at the beginning of this section. There are two major outlines, Tsongkhapa. This is the section where Tsongkhapa explains, the vipassana, if you use that term, and here the term is used transcendent insight, or the vipassana or transcendent insight. This is the section which I mentioned earlier, explanation of wisdom, realizing emptiness. That's the section which really important section. And when that section is started, Tsongkhapa put whole that section from page, starting page 129 to end of this entire, this text. He put into under two main outlines. The first one he called, in here, saying the general setup of conditions. In other words, what are the conditions? What are the causes and conditions that we should create us to have, this transcendent insight? In other words, vipassana. Realizing emptiness, particularly in this context, the mind which is realizing emptiness, that wisdom. And up to here is under that first outline. So in other words, from last year, I can't remember, in terms of the page 130 to 100, the 88, all those parts are part of the creating the conditions us to nurture vipassana or transcendent insight. That is how Tsongkhapa's style. What he had done, all these things, all these pages. If you people who have been here quite, most of the time, if you may remember, we have many important sections went through, including the section that we today concluded, two truths. Those are something important. Why I'm saying this important now? This evening reading under under the heading of categories of transcendent insight. So transcendent insight, or the vipassana, or this mind realizing emptiness, to be cultivated, to be nurtured within ourselves. First, we need to understand. We have to have understanding of the subject, or subject of that transcendent insight, or the vipassana is meditating on. If we do not have the object or the subject that insight is meditating on, then there isn't that much to be to be cultivated insight, or the vipassana. And so that is what Geshe is very, very important, to getting right object of the meditation. In this case, ultimate truth or emptiness. If we get the whole sort of picture of what is meditated on, in this case emptiness, then the sort of meditating on that object will be quite straightforward. If we do not have the object of the meditation, in this case emptiness, vipassana, realizing emptiness, will not grow, will not cultivate, will not nurture. Or even if we nurtured, maybe mistaken, maybe not complete. And that is what here is so interesting, and the arrangement. Now, just briefly because I use this term vipassana, which is very, very popular these days. Sort of overused the term. From the traditional classical, these teachings point of view, the term vipassana is overused. Sometimes maybe we may use the term, the vipassana meditation on having a good cup of tea. And there's nothing wrong to have a vipassana meditation, but from the classical Buddhist and also non-Buddhist, vipassana meditation is not just Buddhist. What's called the meditation. Non-Buddhist ancient Indian spiritual traditions also have the full-fledged, vipassana meditation. Vipassana meditation. It is not just only Buddhist business. So therefore, that is really important for us to know. Now here, which I'm going to give you some kind of overall, what is vipassana? I'm using that term in Tibetan term. First, I will use the Tibetan term. The Tibetan term is called hlak thong. Hlak thong. Hlakpa means more. Thong means see. In other words, seeing more detail, or seeing more depth, seeing that you haven't seen before. And that is the Tibetan. If I just give you the just general, the meaning of those two terms, hlak, thong, seeing more. That is just, whether it makes sense or not in English, I don't know. But hlak is, it has many different meanings. Hlak can be saying, hlangma, that means, left over. If you have a food left over, that also, hlangma, hlak. It's exactly the same spelling, same pronunciation. But if you say hlakpa, that means more. Or you can also have a meaning, saying what's called above. Above. And thong, seeing. Seeing, it doesn't mean only what's called the sight. mainly here, mental state. In English also you use that. Yes, I see, doesn't mean all the time seeing your eyes. You understand that. So that is the Tibetan term. And because I'm not expert in Sanskrit, Vipassana, I'm sure it may have that kind of connotation. May not match very like that, but may have that kind of connotation when you say Vipassana. So think about it. So when you say that I'm doing Vipassana meditation, from the classical teachings point of view, in your meditation, whatever, in your meditation, that meditation should provide you something that you haven't seen before, something that you haven't understood before. By doing that meditation, reveals new reality, new things. If that's happening, that is, I'm not saying that's a proper Vipassana meditation, that is in that area. So in order to see, in order to understand something that we haven't understood, something we haven't seen before, we need to use our intelligence, need to examine, need to analyze, need to observe again and again and again from different angle, from different perspective, from different time. If we do that, by doing that may reveal some of the things that we haven't seen before, some of the things that we haven't thought about before. And that's quite often people say, Vipassana meditation you need, and it means you are analytical meditation. That's why it comes analytical. In the Vipassana meditation, you should have the analysis. Why? Because it needs to reveal something new things from there, what you are meditating on. Yeah, so that is very general, the meaning, the Vipassana, Phakdong in Tibetan, Phakdong in Tibetan. So, under this category, under this heading, the category of the categories of transcendent insight, and here, the Geshe gave us, there are several different categories of Vipassana meditation that we can do, based on this particular, the sutras, as you can see, in the second, So first, just look at it. When you discover the view that realizes true selflessness from the above teaching of the necessary conditions for transcendent insight, you should meditate on transcendent insight. So this is briefly concluded what I've just said. After you have the idea of the true selflessness or the emptiness of the person and emptiness of the phenomenon. I'm not going to repeat what is emptiness of person. If I do that, then extra repetition, which I did maybe 100 times along this, reading this text. So when somebody have the idea, some glimpse of ultimate truth of the person and the ultimate truth of the phenomena, then he or she can do the transcendent insight meditation. That means then he or she can start to focus on the ultimate nature of the truth or the conventional nature of the truth. Both can be Vipassana meditation, but in this case, we are talking about, the more, particularly Geshe previous conclusion, these 2.5 lines is the previous, up to here, the conclusion, what he had taught, and up to here. Now then he says, how many transcendent insights are there? Here, I've not mainly, so then he taught there are, these lists are not fixed. Different sutras, have different lists. And he is selecting one particular list, and they, talk about four different, So I will not go one by one. These are quite nicely, explained in here, the list. One thing which I'm going to point out to you is this word. That is on the line 1, 2, 3, 4. We can look at it, yeah. So I'm reading the paragraphs. Here, I've not mainly taught the higher stages of transcendent insight. In other words, the vipassana mind, or the transcendent insight, which those people who have really, the deep understanding, realization on the, the ultimate truth and the conventional truth. He's saying, I'm not going to talk that levels of vipassana mind. He was saying, I'm going to talk vipassana mind, something people who are starting to have that, the transcendent insight. I'm going to talk on that level, and that's what he said. But have emphasized that the transcendent insight to be meditated by common individuals. Now, common individuals, this word here, how he translated in Tibetan, is called soje, sosokyu. Sosokyu, that means people who may have some understanding of emptiness, but he or she have not direct understanding of emptiness. He or she doesn't have direct understanding of ultimate truth. Nevertheless, he or she may have some concept, some understanding, glimpse of understanding of emptiness. So those are the, the common individuals in Tibetan soje, common individuals. To completely analyze that type of transcendent insight, there are the insight of the four realities. So he continues. I will not read one by one. He talks about four. And this comes from this particular sutra, as you can see in the second paragraph, illustrating of the intent. This is one of the sutras, important Buddhist words from the Mahayana teachings point of view. In that sutra, which is one important word, is here he translated discernment. And this is, the all four in the Tibetan word, in Tibetan version, all four these categories, the term discernment is used in Tibetan, the number cheba. Here he used discernment. Maybe, commonly the translation is analytic, discernment, analytic. In Tibetan word, number chebarchawa. That means, the sort of analyzing or examining the different aspect of the things that we are, looking at. Of course, here the examining, the people who do the business, people who are scientists, people who are all those, in the academic field, they also examine, according to their field, what they are studying. Psychologists, they will examine people's way of thinking, people's way of behaving, and the scientists and physics, they all do the examination. It is part of that. Examining the, how much, how they appear, and do they exist, how they appear to me. This solid, concrete vase, nice, beautiful, appear to us. Does it exist as this appear to me solid, concrete, and so forth? And some different fields will have a different interpretation through the examination, isn't it? This is what here is talking about number chepa, discernment, he translated, I would say analysis or examination. So examination, analysis in 4 different categories, and they all can be counted as a transcendent insight, as a vipassana. So those are the things which here it is quite, I will not read one by one all. Now I'm going to turn to the page 189. 189. One thing which I'm going to point out, quite some of you know, some of you don't know, but just to this big paragraph, page 189. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Page line 12 from the above, from the top of that paragraph, counting line 12, people who have the text, where out of those six different, out of the 4 and the 4 categories, and then the fourth one has 6. 6 investigations, what they call it, and went through one by one, now looking at the 6th one. And this is just, I want to remind you, here it says this, investigating reasons. So when you investigate, there are different ways to investigate, and different reasons are used, when we investigate, analyze, examine. And there are this is very the important one. In the Buddhist, there are 4 ways to examine. 4 ways to examine. Or 4 reasons can be used to examine of the things and events. 4 reasons. And that is, here, the first reason is called, here you can say, it investigates relation reasoning by viewing how effects occur dependent on causes and conditions. And that's the first one. And this, I thought, maybe the scientists, they may examine why this, how this pots, what is the mechanism these pots bind together as a solid concrete. Even though, if we look at it deep down, all different particles, different particles and all sorts, but it has a solid binding element. What is it? What is it? Looking at the result, then tracing back the causes. What are the causes? So that, looking from that and reasoning from that angle, that's the first one. Depending, and then the second one, it says it investigates functional reasoning by investigating how things perform their specific functions. For example, if we switch on, our what's called the gas, if we put our finger, it will burn. The function of burning from the fire. What's there? Why it has that kind of function? What are the elements in there? And looking at that, out of the function, then looking, to understand the thing. And that is one of the, out of the 4. And the third one, it says, it investigates logical reasoning by investigating how things are established without contradicting, validating, cognitions. And this is more looking at inside, our minds, our logical minds. To say that, there is a this because of this. And our minds do that. That kind of reasoning. Setting that it is this because of this. It is not only the outside there, it is also mentally we make that kind of reasoning. That's the third reasoning. Now then the fourth one, and it investigates natural reasoning by investigating the commonsensical nature. that natural reasoning by common sensual nature, that inconceivable nature. Anyway, so 2 plus 2 is 4. That is nature. There's no argument with that. And there are these kind of facts. When the causes and conditions are complete, result is definite. It is not created by somebody. It is not, it is how it is. There's no any further interpretation apart from saying, all the conditions are met. Apart from that, if we start to interpret, we will caught up in just interpretation, then it will go round and round. So in our world that we interact, there are these things, that then we can, how we interact, how we use our reason and all sorts of things. And this is something quite important for you to think about how logic and reasons are used. Logic and reasons are not only in here. Logic and reasons are not only out there as a fact to be found. It is the combination of all these things. And here we can see the four reasons. So that's, I think, something quite useful in relation to when that we are talking about vipassana. Vipassana in the sense of analytical meditation. Meditation gradually built, developed, formed through analysis. When we do the analysis, we need reasoning. Otherwise, it's difficult to do the analysis. And this is one of the difficult one. When we do the analysis, when we do the analytical meditation, if we don't have a sort of structured form to do the analysis, then our analysis will go round and round and round, or it will go end of the meditation session, don't know where we have been. One reason to read leads to the next one leads to then we lost what we are analyzing. And these things are useful. These things are useful to form, to structure the analysis. Say, okay, when the causes and conditions are met, result is definite. That is thesis. Examine, analyze, select maybe a few groups of that, and do the experiment. Is there any time all the causes and conditions are met, still there's no result? If there is, then that thesis is false, isn't it? Or look at the functioning things. Why it's functioning? Why it has this particular function? Why fire has a more functioning burning than the water? Then look at that. You will see that fire has these elements, whatever burning elements, which water doesn't have that kind of high percentage, which fire has. Then you can examine with that. Those are the useful to know, because I'm not going to read all, so that is really useful. Now if you turn your page 190, 190, and the section that we just touched on is really, Geshe is giving us, saying, look, Vipassana meditation can be done in many different forms and in many different aspects. And these are the 4 different aspects or 4 different forms, and so on and so forth. Now, how it is done. How to meditate on transcendent insight. The meaning of meditating on the insight based on quiescence. So now this is another useful, which quite often, there are traditions, even within the Tibetan Buddhism, there are traditions not necessarily emphasize the sequence between the shamatha and the vipassana. There are traditions. But here, Tsongkhapa says, particularly if you follow this, the structure, there's a clear-cut sequential. First shamatha, then vipassana. In the Vajrayana practice can be formed two together, but that's what we are not looking at. We are looking at here in the Sutrayana. In this case, first is the shamatha, that is the single-pointed mind, quiescence, here translated. Then on that basis, then the vipassana is formed. And here what Tsongkhapa has done, the first part, he gave us as sources from the sutra and those great Indian masters. How they see the importance of this following that sequential. Exceptional cases are there, but in generally the sequence is, the very fixed sequential. And you can look at those sutras and Indian masters that he had, Tsongkhapa has explained, saying Holy Maitreya, Asanga, and then also, Bhavavika, Shantideva, Kamalashila, all those, then sutras, and that's what here. And then the middle of that, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, line 6, after he named all those great teachings, how the sequence is, in that order, then he gave us, how the sequence is explained in this. The line which saying, the intention of these statements is not that first of all one should generate a quiescence that perceived any kind of object, nor not orientated to the meaning of selflessness, and then subsequently one's practice orientated towards selflessness become the transcendent insight. So he's making this clarification. Although there's a fixed sequence, the fixed sequence is not saying first develop what you call shamatha, relation to the emptiness, then after that develop the shamatha, vipassana, relation to the emptiness. That sequence is not he is talking about. What sequence he is talking about, first develop shamatha, then develop vipassana. Some people can first develop shamatha, relation to the ordinary object, flower, body, the breathing. On that base of shamatha, then he or she can build vipassana, meditating, analyzing on emptiness. So this part, he's not saying, to cultivate vipassana, meditation on emptiness, the person should have first, the shamatha meditation on emptiness. That sequence is not he is talking about. What he is fixed sequence, what he is talking about, shamatha should go first, vipassana should follow. That sequence is not individual subject, individual topic. If somebody wants to cultivate, the vipassana meditation to do on emptiness, that person should first cultivate, shamatha meditation on emptiness. That's not sequence he is talking about. As I mentioned, somebody can perfectly, first to cultivate shamatha based on breathing, not emptiness, and that shamatha is cultivated using the breathing as an object of the meditation. When that person cultivates real shamatha, that shamatha can be used as a foundation to build Vipassana meditation on emptiness. That is, what he is talking about. That's quite a useful one, important one, and that kind of sequence. And you can read that part. Then page 191. Number 2. So then he gave us a brief sort of, the explanation, which already he did when the section that we read, shamatha section, a year ago, maybe longer. What he's saying, if you use like impermanence, like emptiness, as an object of the meditation to cultivate your shamatha, there analysis is not involved. Analysis should not be applied because you are cultivating shamatha. In the process of cultivating shamatha, analysis is not useful. Even though the object that you are meditating on requires analysis to have the understanding, but at the meditation session shouldn't involve analysis. And this is classical Buddhist text. Although some of you know in our reading earlier when Geshe explains object of the meditation of shamatha according to the individual mental disposition, including breathing, including image of Buddha, is explained. But in the classical Buddhist text, the object of the shamatha meditation, as well as the object of the vipassana meditation, are the 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths. Each noble truth of dukkha, noble truth of origins of dukkha, noble truth of cessation, and path which lead to cessation, each noble truth has 4 different aspects. For example, noble truth of dukkha, aspect of impermanence, aspect of dukkha, aspect, and so forth. I will not go. So the classical, in this Buddhist literature, the object of the meditation for the vipassana, for the shamatha, are these important topics. That makes sense. Of course, it is useful to have breathing for us, the baby starter, useful. But serious, who seek liberation from dukkha and origins of dukkha, object of the meditation also must be serious. And particularly when your meditation is reaching in the advanced stage, maybe in the early stage, maybe. So that is useful to look at that. So this is why it is how Geshe explains. And I will not read all this detail. So now I'm going to leave my blah blah here, and now I'm going to read the Tibetan text remaining half an hour. People who want to leave, please leave. Don't need to stay here in a form of respect or in a form of whatever. Because I need to read this Tibetan text to finish the oral transmission. And I'm giving the oral transmission to the building. Why I'm saying that? Because I started this text maybe even 3 years ago, and then that means there are few try come almost every single Wednesday evening. And understandable. 3 years every Wednesday is impossible. Myself, while I was a student in monastery, I wasn't that diligent. So I understand that people who have family and other commitments. So therefore, for the building, if there are sort of So I'm reading that, and the people who want to leave because of the tiredness, because of the the transports, whatever, I'm going to read half an hour. Okay. Niba zubong la ni le tangbo zuba guba ne kade sanje ye kenpa sanje ye chedawa kenpe yi shi ju tuan tuan pe tenpa ni na jure le kade namba te tabi rangshin tongwa me pa ni ma yi nama che te chere chedara te ta ki siki sen sik shen na te me je me da ma sik pe tsuki te ta ki sik so she judo shen she jing ma sik pa la te kona ni sik pa la 대권아 세번 셰징 대치제도 되는 데 탐지 tembe 이시 유래 장 대바라 셰바탕 셰바라 탕바탕 산지지 살아 세메 심종지 주와된 로바라 셰된 로바라 셰바탕 산지지 봉소 마세바 마세나 또보주 값소 최 탐지 템바 최 탐제 캠바라 셰바 제다라 맹가라셴 니발렌 셰바라 종알레 담보로데 제다와 캠비 시게 턴더마 생으로 군조와 나마 마메베 마메바라든 베메가데 마세베 수제스와 셰반 유칸이 탐제 마동와라 미제지 마리베 라비지 퇴 미과 대는 대권한이도 연아 법에님샤 상매 사과매와 이시지 미고발에 대는 지하마시베고네 지하마시베고네 대다기 대권한이 시보라도 바인데 가자 연아 미소 롱알레 마미바니레 가자가바 도바 도바라 조베제로 통화매바네 통화 담바오 신송 돼야 대신도 셔바죠 니바데 공급안에 대다 두발레 소나마 마통 소나마 미통 초와사자 미통신 두제 마통 두제 통화매 바sam라 미통신 강라 남바라 셔바 세메이 통매바 데네 최통 인셰셰제 딘셰와다 남가 통신 셈제 세도라바 쳬바 남가 제다라 통 대대다라다와 대대다라 최 통화야 대신셰와 대신셰베 때마다 통화 배신제네 니바라미네 바다셰 메통화 풍봉하다 풍봉하다 통화네 최셰 소마대 권나니게 되는데 수 된데 통화대 최 통화오셰 소마셰노 소바도 대전데 대야베나 남가네 토베르자 점저 토베르자 제점인라 대 통아마 네 가자 데비토여나 미소롱와레 마통와라 저바단다데 대야 통화대 대야 통화네 남가다 마통와네 데비토소셰 베대신도 통화면바다 아르제 통화 대신 아르제 통화신도 지니제 통화네 강바 타마니제 가고 풍봉안에 풍봉안에 통화 송반에 상매제 녀세시게 대권하니제 스병으로 추진 통화면바데노 시바데니라 도 남kenji 된다마 생으로 되는 생원이나 누바라셰게 된다마 마토바 송바 되네 되니 덴바니라 주발레 사예보다 된다마 덴바네 나바 탐제게 초다 되보다 탐제게 이시유제 발람레 발레 대바인데 제대로 된다베 덴바오 셰주바데다네 셰드노마 덴바오 셰주베잖아 로라 유유제니 소소로 나와다 마동와라 소바 셰베니나 로베 공 인제 산제세 공인제 산제제 된다 마도베 공메노 마바 시수 대다 조대 레장 순순네 조대 레장 오보 제바체나 마레바랑 시바시 무슨도 세바 되니 토소 주베 산제제 저도 셰 산제제 제다와 시베 이시 되니지 되니 시베 오로 셴와라 셴와라 마레베 추니 바시 토소 주바 손소 토바 냠샤카바 소즈니 냠샤카바 심제조와 메바 심제조와 메바 돌레 송바나 남도게 조와 메바 조소니 세메 심조게 조와 로바네 테코나 닝우도 주베체 남도게 조와 로베 Tunje Simju, Never Tomba Mino Sisele, number Toba and Sisele, number Toba and Simje Joa in La Tedan Devan, Tedan Tevechero, Tekona Nine, number Toba Mevaj, Chigedo Dole, Tundabe Demba Kanshena Kanla, Simje Joa Mela Yi, Igenamata Meta Me Chigu She Songso, Simje Joa, Meber Sumbe, Namdone Joa Mebala Shedo, Tea Pava Love, Yamshaki to so, Ten Loba Minje San, Sanjebe to so, Ten Loba Judele Sonso, Demba, Tenoma Demba Sheja, Memba Sheja, Memba Mawala, Sobelo, Kazula, Shen Judele, Ranshin de Yoba Mena, Tetobe, Chito, Chanju. Jasena Kawa Juba Meber She Temeba Shejeta Jeba to the Jigedo Dene Ranshinya Kangi Ranshinya Kanshi Jena Tedane Jema Membata Shela Teba Meba in the Mari Bera Rita Teve Shebe Toba Sheve Rangingo Chide Yoda Medo She Chige Mesoruma Kalde Menani Chi Tandam do Chanju Samba Nama Paro do Chimbe Lama Gomba Jude Kangi Chire Chuni Te Tobra Cheve Chire Chanju Nam Chanju Sambana Tether, Kawajada, Subra Chao, She Song She, She do Rigi Poca de Tamba Yoba Manjunani. Sangbar Juba, Tamba Jushin, Tishin Shaba Nama Jungwa, Jungwa, Meba Juro, Kangi Chire, Tamba Yoba, Chire, Chanju Samba Nama, Tambala, Tambala, Keba Shao, She, Tandama Temba Yoba Mila. Taduke Nyande, Taduke Nyande, Sangbe Tendo, Jobara, Sangbe Tendo, Jeba, Jobara, Meba Jovada, Duje, Metobe, Missive, Te Topara Chave, Tendo, Sanje Jigdento, Jumba, Meba, Jesse, Chambona, Tendamba, Tendama, Dembala, Keba, Meba Jovada, Teno, Demba, Yobara Juve, Dode, Tambana, Love, Chambo, Yellow, Tendamba, Sheja, Memba, Pabe, Nyamsha, Pabe, Nyamshana, Tekona, Tobe, Ije, Mebama, Lobama, Kona, in Jeba, Nyamsha, Singor. Yu Jen Zozo Mejo Bane Shen Judele, Techre, Tabale, Tekona, Toso, She, Nambrasha de Ngosone, Gala, Ngosone, Gashi, Geshe Shebane, Mayinde, Shebada, Sheja, Nika, Yang, Majeba, Niji, Shiro, Shesumbe, Tambo, Tene, Ishedan, Tekona, Yu Jen Susoba, Ni Chebane, Tekona, Tobar, Jobane, Tanyebe, Shen Oro, Samdo, Sedo, Ishete, Oro, Minchube, Tenila, Sheba, Maji, Shebane, Ranshinki, Majebe, Tana, Chula, Chushaba, Shindo, Juru Chebao, Kuba, Tekonani, Kundoge, Jualo, Bezuji, Mondo, Chebane, Ishiji, Yu, Tekonani, La Simjum, Simsinjum, Minjobe, Kukone, Obara, Kukone, Musumdo, Chabada, Shesum, Bechero, Mondo, Chaju, Leso, Chawane, Tekonani, the Eugene, Shine, Tekonani, do Cheba, and Longjo, Zobe, Kune, Undo, Chebe, Chaba, Temba, Boda, Te Mundo, Chizune, Arashabada, Simjuge, Kundoge, Joalo, Betsu, Debara, Kange, Tinyan, Mundo, Sebe, Kute, Simju, Dante, Shiva, Rangshin, Chado, Sheso, Chuba, Sanji, Pumbo, Sanji, Punso, Masiba, Masina, Chiniba, Tembala, Soba, Chiniba, Tembala, Soba, Kundepso, Juzune. Sanje Ponzo Masina Chiniba Tembata, Chinibe, Tamjela, Goa, Deba Jude, Yobada Sanje, Mediambani, Gaveche, Ro, Chujiba, Namjin, Chini, Kemba, Chini, Tembala, Te, Chini, Tembala, Tenane, Ken Go, Tenane, Ken Go, Nayula, Ni Yude, Tena, Chiniba, Tembala, Chinibe, Tenama, Nangoshin. Namedo Temba, Dibe, Lo me, Nabarashaneso, you Nabarashaneso, Yuna Chiniba Nam, Yuna Chiniba Yang, Maribe Pachaji, Malibe Sanji, Sembe Soda, Maribe Pachaji Leve, Madave Nujula Sobani, Te Tambone Sanji, Sanji Sara Dogbe, Sanji Sara Dogbe, te tangpone sanje je sara tope teme ba nipa ne sa tere gyu lobe dobara ye no chungye ba chinye ba tope tenpa tang sanje kansa shen la nang lu minta tsu ne nang su ne sanje je pe sanje je tsembe mari ba pangbe kansa la na wa na rangi tsinyi ye toba she rangi tsinyi ye toba she no tere na wa ne yu te mari be pacha ji wange jungye gyunzen ji minji 유진 대레 유진 대 마리베 파서게 레베 왕게 나와 인데 대네 가사셴라 대다 나와 섬지 대다 나와 섬지 응원에 유진 대라 나와 멤바 랑원에 대다 나와 인베체로 산지게 진예바 쳔베 이셰라 마리바 이셰라 마리바 마반베 모로 소다소 랑게 신이게 마도셴도 대레나베 대나마 나와네 마리베 레바 예베 칸스 마리베 레바 예베 칸살라 텐다 대다나와 고네 산제라 나와인게 셴 대다나와 고네 산제네 나와인게 셴라 대다라 나와 셴라 대다 나와라 마드바 산제게 랑원에 나와면은 대제레 소소 랑신게 마루 대제 소소 랑신게 마루 신도 대 나와 산제게 tem바야 마리바다 템바라 대다나왕원에 인제 가사텔라 테레 나와 마도베 산제 랑게응원에 대다라나웨 수지 tem바메베 테레 나웨 투나 테나 테레 나웨 추바주베 데메데 테네시라 레베 테네시라 레바유나 나와메베 가이셰데 셰자 탐제 쳔고베 네제 임베소 대다치니바 쳔베 랑원에네 ngobo 타만제 다메바다란 신예메베 ngo로 나웨 줌바 주마신도 난게 데바미나라 마리바다 데바나라 나웨 차네 이셰텔라 나웨나 간사신텔라 데바나와 샤와자모 조송바 데다라 리바 투주발레 장 송바네 리바 투주발 ngola kheba namjine ngobo meta luweche sodan tomba tameba number e she chawa tong she song de debaya zeba tarachin be de chidar se so jushiba ngo chik 장 유den이 라데 참바 소소로 조바 미게데 대다라나 데니레 딱배ngo 엠바데 치다나와데 코나 덴데게 와탐제네 탐제 켐베ngo 소무 셰체니바 켐베ngo 소음도 살레 식바다 강게세 샤바다 시자다 다니수다 당니 제소 메동와 데네 참마 미종 데네바 덴지레 미싱 소 셰니나 녀와라 셰베 띵에젤레 투 남양 마싱 바라셰 니게 시수 니게 시수 나바 남장 제신도 마고와라 딩이 가롱 제마도 바라 니가 켈렘바 가와나야 메데 대코나니 스바다 제니바 스베 이시니오 즉 유소소라 데데 리셰다 에 타니베 샤바니 소도 로와 중세자 민게 베체로 정아바 시치다와시나 드보 시치다와다 드보 나가바 소소 참마니니 유자와나 대라 참마니 강도 송셰 거베 대양시 시다웨 가바소 추진지 등에 리셰다 타니베 참마니 니즈미도와 니홍양 가와 중세자 메바 레버라 셰바라 라레소 드베 가와소 이니지 유자와나 대zam도 마세 유대라 참마니 강도송 레버라셰나 유소소로 망에 장 유제니 시든도 명와야 셰버르뉴데 대네데마니지 친니지 십자양 셰버자 송바 던도마데베 여와셰발라 중니 당불라 던데베 이즈 진다와 대네 던도마데발라니데 던도메 던도마데발라 예나 죽데레 동바니라 제버르체나 동니 주주다 딩도 제나 오보 메오다랑 신지고 동바니다 실레 드나 가사다 추게다 메바니 소송서 숑와셰라네 던도마데바 뭐다 튼베 던도마니 소송데 오마나와레 제와 메발라야 던담다 튼베 초
tumbe chire tundamba she tundamba che chaye ngoso ne mayino ngoso na tundamba tundamba toba tamje le tawe chiro she oma jele tambe tundam tumbe che dine tambe tundona yangda tu ne toba ye chonam kun le tedo yin she dang dinyi le jang tishin do sungsho dinyi rangde le jang rangde da jen le tundamba tenpa keso kapa kunzuba she do nipa shungteda ne sungpe tundam ji ngo ngara be shizu la ne tenama tundam ji nga ji tenam tenam ji tene ngame ngon ji mangpo namchang pa yime ji tundam tenpa ni so che ne sukso la tundam tenpa kewa so kape tongye ne ngama shi no te tundam pa tepa kame kunzuba tenpa tsinyi pa tang chi ma ne lo kangi jang yu do chawa mi ne pa she cha me par to sungpa shungteda ki tundama niso sheba te konar sheba tunmene tenama je tun membe tedara sheba yang chunyi la tundama tenpa cha kujang yujen rishe la yang tedara sheba mangde dinye le luwa mebe rikpa ne tundama yin she tang oma nawa le jang kanya tundambara jewa me she shawa la soba meba tela yang tunni la de yin bar de do yang ta be to ba dang sang ba dang gong ba le chung ye she ba tam je ne chin je lo be yu jin yin be chi re to no de ba she de tam ba yin be chi ro she song ba ta ra ro ri she la ni le pa be nyam sha me do be she me do ba da la de ne te kon na ni je we ri she ge do je la song ba da do ge ba wa le tam ma do ge ba wa le tam ba la tam la me do be she da 대단 제소 때문에 셔로 니 셰베 공부하다 오마나와래 더는 봐 니셰바 니네 공부 지긴데 더는 된다마니 셰바 유jen라 미제바 유제 더는 코나라 제바네 중원데 되면데 셰바리셰니 더는 된방고다 제도 봐 소소로 조소네 대라 당보 태코나니라 조바나 된바다 니나게 저바 직접랑게 유도 제뉴베 된다마 된방고 인데 저바 탐제랜다 저바 탐제랜다 대 셰베 된양디오 저바 탐제래 대 셰베 된양디오 니베네 랑게 유도 덴베 저바 공유장 니나게 저바 제미네 벤지데네 데베토나데마 나바 제소 템바토나모 나바로 롱오로 랑아바 롱오데 유데 덴다바마 츠니 셰바네 소소라 덴다바 제소 카베 유게 덴다마라야 츠니 셰고라 데라네 유게 동니데 리시 동메게 오로 저바 직자다 데베 덴다마 yin la ri she tok che ji ngo zhe ba cho sam dang che wa zhe ba ni cha dang che we de da ma ngue min ji ji re ta da ma de ba ngue min sa wa mi no de na lo ka shi ge ngo ni na ne lo ka shi go ni na ge zhe ba tham che dang che wa ma do den dong te na we zhe ba tham che dang che wa mi se be de da ma de ba yin na ni na ge zhe ba tham che dang che go ba ni shung ge de me no to ba ju ma toba jumari ruba de be tonam te tendam bang me bane tena jumari rube shi pongbo tabo da dendong ge nawani choba rishi jaba ge rube tendam dembara de bane tumbe tendam do jube tendam de bane no demba je today ge nawa jumala soba de me ge nawara do ba mere dembe chigda today ge na we nyugo so deme ge na wa to ja shi de dembara yume shi de demba yume tezoma ma je be kansa dong den la ne te da ra de be me tezoma je ba ne da de tezoma je ba ne da yang da do mi jo ba da o ma na wa le je to de je da 최大최 니가 남제도 남제怎么都 송신제도 내 직당 도만 메바다 대니 소메바 다 강다소 제장 자워라 손바니 마이 강아가 가라 미제 마이 가라 미제바 디니 베레조바쇼 로베쇼소 엽서당 로베 싱게성부 셰바 데메노 데바 나라베 나라도 미네베 오마체베 된다베도 셰바다 Meno na wa la ga je choba number chaba sama nam je dang yong ju ni so chaba ne chima chaba ge she je ten sama den ba de uma chembo su ya me she do su te na Lam-Rim ge bar de da ge number shaba na shibdo she bar chao she go ba ten dama de ba je so ka be kun zo do ye ba de ming ge wa ne je so je ming wa je so ka ba tun be ten dama do she ba da de ni le ja chen da ge yang da de ko na jin ba she che we du be tu ne te ya ri be che na kun zu bo ko na de chi ji che na ga ja ye ba ma yin be yang da du ne ka me se she shen da sim sam ba se me za ma ba ga she la che ga be dong ni yang da do ba na rang lu je ga ja che da me be te ga be ga ba yang ta ka ba yang ta ba ma tu ba she song da te tan da den ba je so ka ba kun zu bo je she ba kun zu to ye be te me kun zu ba den ba me no chu ba ngom bo la so ba te den dong mi she la na wa so ba ma yin ga la gong be te den dong tan da den ba me ge ba de te ya ti ni le ya ta be je ti ni le Tini le yanta be na lobe kunzu yin ba she ba ta yanta je so ka ba ya lobe kunzu do ju ro te da ge ga shi ngo bo na wa ma yin no she len do mi na wa mi sa wa ngo bo ngo ni ta ta de da she ngo bo so she ngo bo ta bo na wa te den dong na wa she ba ne den ba ra na wa ka be nam che zama mi shi nam che zam mi shi mi shi la so wa mi na wa da ma yin ka la gong be ten de kunzu 친이 바이나 덴바 제점게 동바 되는 담바 민가와 전에 주제바 도바 도제 동매 도제 게르시 니소 유제 되는마 뭐다 제den도 소소 저게 나라신 여반에 오마제 되담바 제와서 가바 양다 kunzubo to 양다 kunzu도 도바인 되담바다 튼데 되더셔바 된담바니 오보 유미지 되베 자와 타다 방와 송배 되베 타와니 디니란데 디니제나 대동매 미동 바에는 뭐 미제바에 제메 바 텔라소바 좀된 소셰소 대제에 대네 저바메 바다 대코나니 도베 타와 탐제 다저와 셰도베 타와라 되베 타와셔 대야 대코나니 무슨도 도베 모로 도베 디니 된다마 뭐다 대마주베 리시 유진기 마메 제소 템발라 소바니 아라신 양다베 계속 가발라야 대가베를 시다 대셰자니가 예베 양다베 군조도 도저야 대대네 셔버 차오 대만이게 저바이노지 여도저 자와단 저거 시주 대네 가와망보로 가망보냐 코와나 somba 딩이게 단데데만에 somba 당보라 강시 강게 주바루에 된바 소 쳐바다 멜로에 된바 루멜로 펜준 가데네 베노 대시제 탐만제 펜 탐제라 펜주 펜주 방배 수제 탑제도 조베 풍보 som바야도 대제를 시작하다 많이 소 당에베체 니바 대시제네 옆세제베도레 대다라 티신샤베 군조베 된바다 된다메 된바니 소 투 셰바라 차와야 군조바다 된다메 된바니 데레세도 셰손 시자 타만제 담바니조 송바다 파바 대코나니 네바라 템베 띵인젠레 자 강시 군조와 대신 도나다 담바 송바나 에미제데 셰 딩이소 장에바라 송소 어야. So now I'll leave it here. So in the prayer book, page 28, page 28, praises to 21 taras. Om je tse ma pama drama la cha tse lo chanza drama nyu ma pa mo chene ke je lo dan tam Jigden Sumgun Chuji Sheji, Kesa Chewa Lene Joma, Chanze Tonge Tawa Gundo, Kawa Jene Zibe Shema, Kama Tongda Tsoba Namji, Rabdo Chewe Rabama, Chanze Senge Chune Geje, Peme Chane Nambara Jema, Jemba Zundu Kadu Shewa, Soba Samden Ju Nyema, Chanze Tejin Shebe Zodong, Taye Nambara Jawa Chema, Malu Paro Jimba Tobe, Jawe Seji Shindu Tema, Chanze Duda Rahon Yeke, Duda Choda Namga Kama, Jigden Dombo Shabji Nende, Leba Meba Guba Numa, Chanze Jachin Mela Tsamba, Lungla Natso Wanju Chema, Chongbo Rola Chisa Namda, Nijun Tsoje Dune Tema, Chanze Teje Chadang Peje, Paro Chogo Rabdo Choma, Egon Yenja Shabji Nende, Meba Choba Shindo Bama, Chanze Ture Jigba Chenbo, Deje Pao Nambara Choma, Chuje Shene Chonye Tenze, Dao Tamje Malu Sema, Chanze Kunjo Sumzen Chaji, Seme Toga Nambara Jema, Malu Choje Kolo Jembe, Rangi Uji Tsonama Chema, Chanze Rabdo Gawa Jebe, Ujin Uji Tenwa Bema, Sheba Rabshe Tudarai, Dudan Jigden Wangdu Zema, Chanze Sashi Jongwe Tsonam, Tamje Guba Numa Nyema, Chonye Yewa Yige Honge, Pongba Tamje Nambara Duma, Chanze Dawe Tumbu Ujen, Jemba Tamje Shindo Bama, Rebe Chone Weba Mele, Tabara Shindo Werava Sema, Chanze Kebe Tama Meta, Barwe Chengwe Une Nema, Eja Yungum Kune Koke, Daye Bungne Nambara Choma, Chanze Sashi Ngula Chaki, Tilgi Nujin Shabji Doma, Chonye Chenze Yige Hongi, Rinpa Dumbo Namni Gema, Chanze Dema Gema Shema, Nyangen Deshin Ju Nima, Sowa Omda Yanda Tembe, Tikpa Chenpo Chomba Nima, Chanze Kune Korava Kave, Chaye Lune Nambara Gema, Ige Chube Ngani Gube, Riba Hongle Joma Nima, Chanze Ture Shamni Dabe, Honge Nambe Sabe Nima, Rera Menda Radan Beje, Chigden Sumna Yewa Nima, Chanze Lai Tsoye Nambe, Rita Tajen Chana Nama, Tara Nyeju Peje Yege, Duna Malu Bani Sema, Chanze Lai Sonam Gebo, Tada Meam Ji Dema, Gune Goja Gawa Jige, Zeda Melwa Ngeba Sema, Chanze Nima Tawa Jebe, Jini Bola Verwa Sema, Hara Nyeju Tuda Rai, Shindo Chabu Rimne Sema, Chanze Tini Sumnam Gube, Shive Tuda Yanda Dema, Duda Rola Nijun Sonam, Chomba Ture Rapcho Nima, Sawe Ngaji Tuba Dita, Chanze Wane Niju Zaj. Dedications in the last page. Chanjo Semcho Rinpoche Maje Panama Ke Juroche Keba Nyamba Mebaya Kone Kondo Pewa Sho Tobze Changshin Jamgun Jawe Ten Zengyo Pewe Kunsu Toporo Tse Chosuma Kuwe Lengme Toto Pa Daso Duje Gundo Shabden Sho Kanre Rave Korve Shinkam De Penda Dewa Malu Chungwe Ne Chenre sewa tenzen jazo ye shabe sete pado tenjo che. Oh yeah. Thank you.